its main source of energy, its body comes into contact with the pollen grains present in the plant's reproductive structures. As she feeds, pollen sticks to microscopic pollen covering her body. When visiting another flower, part of this pollen is limited to the pistil, which is a female structure of the plant, allowing fertilization and, consequently, the formation of seeds and fruits. But bees are not the only ones responsible for this work. Other pollinators, such as butterflies, beetles, bats and birds, also play this role. However, bees are unbeatable when it comes to efficiency. They visit thousands of flowers a day and, due to their organized behavior and loyalty to certain plants, they guarantee a much higher pollination rate than other animals. Why is pollination so important? Pollination is not just a detail of nature, it is a fundamental pillar of life on the planet. Without it, plant reproduction would be compromised, with a significant reduction in food production, affecting biodiversity and directly impacting the global economy. Here are some of the main reasons why this process is essential. Food production. Approximately 75% of the world's agricultural crops depend, at least partially, on pollination by insects, especially bees. Fruits such as apples, strawberries, avocados, cherries and even the coffee we drink daily only exist thanks to this process. Biodiversity maintenance. Pollination allows a wide variety of plants to reproduce, ensuring a diversity of species and natural ecosystems. This strengthens food chains and keeps habitats balanced. Economy and sustainable agriculture. Modern agriculture directly depends on pollination. The economic contribution of bees to global agricultural production is estimated to be hundreds of billions of dollars per year. Without them, production costs would increase significantly, making food more expensive and scarce. Climate balance and forest preservation. Many trees and plants depend on pollination to reproduce and continue absorbing CO2 from the atmosphere. Without the presence of pollinators, these ecosystems would collapse, worsening the effects of climate change. How do bees choose the right flowers? Bees don't visit flowers randomly. They have an incredible ability to identify and memorize the best sources of nectar and pollen. Its navigation system is extremely sophisticated, using a combination of spatial memory, ultraviolet vision and pheromone communication to find the most productive flowers. Furthermore, inside the hive, bees gather information through a fascinating behavior, the bee dance. When a bee finds a rich source of food, it returns to the hive and performs a series of specific movements that indicate the exact location of the bloom to its companions. The more vigorous a dance, the higher quality of the nectar source found. This mechanism ensures that the colony always explores the best pollination opportunities. The impact of bee decline on pollination. In recent years, bee populations have seen an alarming decline. Factors such as the prolonged use of pesticides, the destruction of natural habitats, climate change and global warming have contributed to this crisis. And if bees disappear, the impact will be devastating. Without pollination, crops essential for human and animal consumption would suffer drastic drops in production. This would lead to rising food prices, shortages of fruits, vegetables and grains, and the collapse of many ecosystems that depend on these plants. Countries like China already face this problem in some regions, where a pollination manual, done by humans, had to replace the work of bees. The problem? This process is inefficient, time-consuming and extremely expensive, making it impossible to replicate on a large scale. What can we do to protect bees? The good news is that there is still time to act. Small changes in our attitudes can have a big impact on the preservation of bees and, consequently, on global pollination. Here are some ways to contribute to this cause. Avoid using chemical pesticides. Many products used in agriculture and even in home gardens are highly toxic to bees. Opting for natural and sustainable alternatives can help maintain them. Plant flowers and trees that attract pollinators. Creating green spaces with species that provide nectar and pollen is an excellent way to support bees. Support producers who use ecological agricultural practices. The conscious consumption of organic products encourages agriculture that respects pollinators and the environment. Create shelters for solitary bees. Small houses for native bees can be installed in gardens and backyards, providing safe places for them to reproduce. Spread knowledge about the importance of bees. The more people are aware of this issue, the greater the chances of implementing meaningful changes to reverse the decline of these essential pollinators. Pollination is one of the most important natural processes for life on the planet, and bees are its main protagonists. They ensure food production, maintain biodiversity, and sustain entire ecosystems. However, its existence is threatened, and the consequences of its extinction would be catastrophic. If we want a future with abundant food and preserved nature, we need to act now. Protecting bees isn't just a choice, it's a necessity. And each of us can make a difference in this fight. Threats to bees: the big problem. Bees play an essential role in nature and food production, but their existence is threatened. In recent decades, scientists and farmers have warned of an alarming decline in bee populations around the world. What is happening? What is causing these important pollinators to disappear? And what will be the consequences for us humans if we don't act in time? In this chapter, we will explore the main threats that are putting bees at risk and understand why this crisis represents one of the biggest environmental and agricultural challenges of our time. The use of pesticides, the invisible poison. One of the biggest threats to bees is pesticides. These chemicals, used to protect crops from pests, end up having a devastating effect on pollinators. Among the most dangerous are neonicotinoid insecticides that attack the nervous system of insects. Even in small doses, these substances can disorientate bees, hampering their ability to find food and return to the hive. Additionally, pesticides compromise these insects' immune systems, making them more vulnerable to diseases and parasites. The problem is so serious that, in some parts of the world, something known as colony collapse disorder, CCD, has been identified. In this case, the worker bees simply disappear, leaving behind the queen and some young workers unable to support the hive. Within days, an entire colony collapses. Habitat loss: where will bees live? Another crucial factor in the decline of